happiness, if we choose to relax and enjoy the day, we get to have an enjoyable time. I wanted to start today. The talk is personal power. And, we sometimes think about power as some kind of an abuse, but truly our personal power is an asset that we have, that we use, that can really transform everything that we do in the world. But I wanted to start with a reading out of Science of Mind magazine for October, for today, actually. And the question arises whether any limit can be placed upon the possibility of the conscious use of spiritual power. Theoretically, it would seem impossible to place such a limit. The only limit would be that which proceeds from the lack of belief or understanding. The spirit itself must be ever present with us. If we could strip our mind of fear, superstition, and all sense of separation from this divine presence, approaching it quite simply and directly, we would probably be surprised at the results that would follow. In using spiritual law, the one having the greatest faith obtains the best results. As we recognize that there is a power within us that we are using, whether we're aware of it or not, we are using it. And we want to make sure that we are using it in a way that supports us and supports life. Makes sense, right? Yeah. I think that makes sense. So I stand in my power as a presence for good is a great affirmation to just every day, just remind ourselves of who we are and where we are in the world, and the fact that we have within us this power. And how we use it is up to us. And of course, everything that we do, think, say is impacting the whole, because there is only one thing. Science of Mind recognizes our place of power in creation as part of who we are as individualized expressions of the divine. So if we're all individualized expressions of God, of spirit, universe, whatever word you're comfortable with, if that is the truth, then why are we living in limitation? Why are we struggling? And I think the biggest struggle is because we've forgotten who we really are. And what I love about Pharrell Williams' song Happy is that in order to achieve that, there has to be an acceptance of self. There has to be a knowing that I am enough, that all that I have need of is right here within me. I don't need to go seek it. I don't need to look for it. I don't need to try and find it. It's right here. It is who I am. It's what I am. I am a spiritual being. You are a spiritual being. We are one. So we begin to look at the idea that I have this power, but I'm not using it. Well, I am using it, but I'm not using it in a way that actually is helping me to win. So how do I shift and change that? And that's where we're looking at life in general, going, what does it take to stand in our power? Not manipulating somebody else. That's not personal power. That's an abuse of power. When we stand in our own power, we create remarkable change. And I want to share a story with you today that everybody's heard before, everybody knows it, but it's a great reminder of what it takes, or what it can take, to stand in that power in a way that really honors who we are authentically. And this is about Rosa Parks. Rosa Parks, a courageous African-American woman, found herself unwittingly co-initiating the civil rights movement in the mid-20th century. On a fateful day in December 1955, she boarded a segregated bus in Montgomery, Alabama, where racial segregation laws dictated that African Americans must give up their seats to white passengers if the white section became full. As the bus filled up, Rosa Parks remained seated. However, when the white section became crowded, the bus driver demanded that she vacate her seat. Tired of enduring the humiliation and injustice of segregation, Rosa Parks calmly and resolutely refused to comply with the unjust order. Her act of defiance sparked a pivotal movement in the struggle for civil rights in America. Her arrest for violating segregation laws ignited a massive boycott of the Montgomery bus system led by Martin Luther King Jr., and it lasted over a year. The boycott and Rosa Parks' unwavering stand against racial discrimination eventually led to the Supreme Court declaring segregation on public buses unconstitutional. Rosa Parks' act of defiance was a catalyst for change, and she became an enduring symbol of courage and determination in the fight for racial equality. Her legacy continues to inspire generations to stand up against injustice and strive for a more equitable society. One person standing in truth can be a catalyst for change. We think sometimes, I'm just one person, what can I do? Well, I'm here to tell you, you can do a lot. When we tap into that essence of who we are and we stand in our authenticity and we give from our place of integrity and joy, what happens is we begin to experience a greater sense of peace and calm within ourselves and a greater willingness to begin to see the beauty that is around us. So rather than judging, it allows us to move into a place of accepting. And this power supports creating a life that we want to experience. It originates within and through us as integrity, accountability, and being true to our values. Yeah. Authentic personal power is something that we really have to look at. Being authentic is kind of I don't know, maybe a rare thing in our world. Seems like we're running around trying to be accepted, trying to get people to like us, hoping that somewhere along the line, someone will, see us as valuable or good. What's happening out here is irrelevant. What's happening in here is the key to our freedom. It's the key to our happiness. Not a new car, not a new house, and not falling in love. Falling in love with ourselves. Relaxing into that essence of who we are and allowing ourselves to truly, truly see who we are and to operate from our set of values, to show up as just a really loving expression of life. So Ernest Holmes, often got asked about prayer, and he said that we can pray for anything that brings more life and harms no one. So when we're praying, we're using that personal power, of course, and we want to use it for good. So it has to be something that honors everyone, that it brings life rather than taking it away. Science Mind recognizes our place in creation as part of who we are as individualized expressions of the divine. So as individualized expressions of the divine, I've already said this, that is something to be repeated. Why? Because we forget. We think that we are these finite beings. But what if we're spiritual beings having a human experience? What if we could, in fact, create from a conscious place the life that we would really like to live? And how do we do that? There is so many things we can do to make sure that we are coming from a place of true, honest expression. And it doesn't mean that we bypass or ignore the challenges of life. It means we stand in our power, knowing it is what it is, and allowing our unity to determine how we're going to express that power. And then rather than coming from a place of hurt or anger or seeking control, we come from that place of, oh, now what? And so we know that there's something in us that we are using, something that we can expand and grow upon. And that's where we want to live. So at the foundation of my power lies spirit, God, universe, whatever you want to call it. There is something in us and we can use it consciously. Yes. So Ernest Holmes reminds us that when we're doing our prayer work, our treatment work, we actually are using these affirmative statements partway through of what it is we truly desire. And one of the things that I always like to ask people, or to even teach in the classes that I teach on prayer, is that there is within us this power, and how we use it matters. And when we're doing our prayers, we're going to that place of the idea of what I want. So when we go there, when we're starting to make that explanation of, okay, universe, here's my dream, it has to be something that is powerful and positive. And I always ask people, what do you want? But then I ask, how would you feel emotionally if you had it? What's the emotion? And then I treat for that, because we can feel that right now. And by living, so it's even like gratitude, like when we think about the Rumi quote at the beginning, today, let us swim wildly, joyously in gratitude. When we come from a place of gratitude, when we state our desires in a way that goes, yes, I am powerful, I am divine, I am whole, perfect, and complete, I am a divine being living a divine existence. These are powerful statements, powerful covenants that we can begin to live from. And when we go to that place of gratitude, when we feel it in our bones, when we're in that place of gratitude, it's so beautiful to just sit there and feel that energy. But here's what happens. We've all heard about the law of attraction. What does it mean? I don't think most of us know that. What it means is, if I'm in that place of gratitude, if I'm swimming wildly, joyously in gratitude, I am attracting to me more of the same, more to be grateful for, more to be joyously accepting, more opportunities to be happy. Yes, this is what we're looking for. We're looking for this ability to live this life gloriously. Now, sometimes when things happen, we call them bad or good. But what if everything that's happening is just moving us in a new way, moving us into a new idea, allowing us to discover our true potential and to live it? So we don't need to force or to manipulate outcomes. Instead, we commit to doing what is ours to do, allowing the natural unfolding of our desires. I was doing a show on Friday with Dr. Nadine Rogers, and as we were chatting, she said something that really stood out to me. She said, surrender before you need to. Wow. Surrender before you need to. So before the universe knocks you flat on your behind, surrender first. So when something happens, instead of naming it bad or wrong, know that this too is taking me somewhere. So I sit in it. I allow myself to feel it, to experience what's going on. I don't try to make it go away. I sit in it. And I sit in it because it's of value. It's something that is bringing me to a greater expression of my life. See, all the work that we do right here. All our work is personal. All our work is individual. There is no one outside of us that can meet our needs. We must do that for ourselves. And sometimes we were raised in a way that suggested we don't know how to do that. And so we didn't know that we were powerful. And maybe we still don't know today. But I'm here to tell you that you are, and we all are, powerful individuals. And we can change the world. Yes, we can. Not through force. It's kind of like Mother Teresa saying she wouldn't attend a rally against war. However, anybody who did a peace rally, she's in. And why is that? As we focus our attention, we begin to realize that where I focus it, that's what expands and grows. So her thought, I'm guessing, was that if she goes to an anti-war gathering, the universe doesn't always understand negatives. So the idea of an anti-war, anti-bullying, anything like that, what we're doing is we're focusing on the problem, not the cause. We're focusing on what has happened, what is in existence, what is, rather than the cause of what is. And so we want to move back to that place inside of us and go, now what? What's actually needed here? I don't need to be against war, against bullying. I need to be for peace, for kindness, for love. If we can begin to shift our energy so that we're always operating from the positive, what happens is we begin to change the dynamic of the whole. Because remember, there's only one thing. We live, move, and have our being in it. So everything we do impacts it. So if we're griping and complaining all the time about whatever's going on, somebody cutting us off in traffic or doing something silly, or the wars going on all around the world, these things, or we look at what's happened with the indigenous people in North America and we bring that up, or what's happened to people of color. What we know is that there is an unfairness in our world. But if I focus on only that, that's what grows. I don't want to focus on that. I want to focus on love. I want to focus on peace. I want to find peace for myself. Because if I'm not peaceful, I can't bring it out in the world. If I don't love me, I can't love you. I can't give what I don't have. So again, it comes back to personal power. We were told as children, many of us, don't be so self-absorbed, or don't think about yourself. That's selfish. Don't put yourself first. We were taught to play small, some of us. But what if we've been taught to be grand, to be outrageous, to be fabulous? Because we are fabulous. What if we could stand in our power and share our gift, whatever it is? Could be the simplest thing. Being a person who is welcoming to everyone. That's a personal power. What if our personal power, or our gift to the world, was simply smiling at strangers? What if holding a door open for a mom with a baby in a stroller, or a person who's got a walker? What if we changed the way we live? What if we took our personal power and went, you know what, I'm going to change the world. That's my plan. That's my intention. I'm going to change the world, and I'm going to change it by celebrating each individual, whether I agree with them or not, whether I like them or not. I'm going to know that this too is an individualized expression of the divine, just like I am. And I am one with this person, this one that maybe I don't agree with. And because of that, I know that what they do and how they do it is their personal expression of the divine. And at some point in time, they may do it different, but maybe not. Maybe I'll do something different. It's up to us to be the change we want to see in the world, as Gandhi stated. Be the change. Here we are, Thanksgiving weekend in Canada. I say that because we sometimes have American people attending. It's Thanksgiving weekend. We have so much to be grateful for. And when I go back historically, it's sad what came of this particular historical event. Today, what I want to say is that the life that we are living, it's up to each one of us to be ourselves. authentically. That's what will take us to happiness, not a new house or a new spouse or a new car or a great new wardrobe. Those things are all lovely and beautiful and definitely will give us temporary happiness. But true and lasting joy comes from living from our own personal place and power, knowing that the power of good, that power that is this divine presence, is right here. And if I use it, if I allow myself to live authentically, if I stop operating from shoulds, if I begin to operate more from this divine part of me, what I realize is that things happen in a beautiful way. Ernest Holmes said, "We understand that using our power for our own good is not selfish. Rather, it is an essential aspect of our spiritual journey." Let me repeat that. Using our power for our own good is not selfish. Rather, it is an essential aspect of our spiritual journey. Using your power for good is an essential aspect of your spiritual journey. Wow. What we nurture and empower ourselves, we radiate that energy outward, uplifting others and contributing to the greater good. Yay, Ernest Holmes. That's powerful. That's powerful. So as I care for me, as I look after me, body, mind, and soul, as I do the things that I need to do for my well-being, as I do that, I radiate an energy that creates good around me. Fascinating. He goes on to say, in every interaction, every decision, and every endeavor, we hold the key to channeling our power for positive change. By grounding our expressions of power in love and compassion, we create a ripple effect that spreads harmony, understanding, and healing throughout our lives and the lives we touch. Let us embrace this profound truth and embark on a path of conscious empowerment, using our power as a force for good in all aspects of our existence. Now, this is going to take some training and this is going to take some time because we sometimes get frustrated or irritated or we don't sleep well and then we're a little, maybe cranky the next day or whatever. We need to honor all of the events that we have. We must honor the cranky moments and the joyful ones. We must honor the mistakes that we make, the failures that happen, and the successes as well. As we honor what is, as we live in the now moment, our power becomes very, very strong. And we are able to move our circumstances in ways that allow us to live to our highest possibility, our infinite potential. But it must come from us. Life is not a spectator sport. Life is the journey that we have, each and every one of us. We wake up each day and it's a new day. Last Wednesday, Dr. Laura Quirk was our guest on Out of My Mouth, and she talked about the book. I think it's called The Absolutely Awesome, Awful, Terrible, Horrible Day of Somebody. I can't remember. There was a movie out about it as well, like the worst possible day ever. But at the end of it's like I wake up the next day and it's a new day. I don't have to take the terrible day into the new day. I wake up and I have a new day. I get to start again. I remember as a kid being told, you made your bed, now lie in it. Okay, well, I'll remake it tomorrow. It's like we sometimes think of absolutes. I made a mistake. Oh no, that's it forever. No, it's not. That's it for now. 5 minutes from now, something new is going to create. There is an ever moving, flowing thing in life that we cannot stop. It's moving. And we're either moving with it or we're being carried along, kicking and screaming. And like Dr. Nadine said, surrender before you need to. Surrender before you need to. And what is surrender? Surrender is, wow, this is what life looks like. Okay. And we sit in it. It's a little bit like being on the river and, we can paddle a canoe upstream. It's hard, but we can do it. But if we go with the flow, it's so much easier. Steering is all that's required. Why is it that we don't think about that in our day-to-day experience? All we need to do is go with the flow. Life is moving. It's taking us somewhere. And when we can embrace that idea and begin to live from there, we begin to see how beautiful life is, and it ignites our passion and desires, and we do create positive change. We begin to create something truly different and beautiful. Whatever we're doing, wherever we are, life is flowing. Life is happening. And it's happening in ways that might even surprise us. We are powerful, creative, dynamic beings. Let's stop living from the brokenness that we thought was us. It wasn't, it was an experience. And we have the power to shift that, to move into a greater and grander expression. We have the ability to be the catalyst for change in our world. Someone once said that doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a new result, is the definition of insanity. But we do that, don't we? I know I've done it many, many times, probably yesterday, I don't know. But it's like we do stuff and we have a habit that we've been doing and we keep doing it the same way, but we want change. We want something different. And the different thing isn't happening for some reason. Well, why isn't it happening? Well, it isn't happening because I'm doing it from the same consciousness. I'm doing it from the same place. What I need to do is do something different. I have to think a new thought. It's funny that this teaching's called New Thought. Change your thinking, change your life. That's the class that runs on Wednesday. Change your thinking, change your life. It sounds simple, but it's actually true. I remember years ago, I was working for the Calgary Herald. I'd been there for probably about 8 years at this point. And I got, called in for my yearly review, and it was a really bad one. In fact, my boss told me if I didn't change my attitude, he would fire me. And so I sat back and went, okay, I guess I better change my attitude, because if I don't, I'm going to get fired. And my dad taught me, you got to work hard to earn a living. So the idea of being fired would have been the most humiliating, horrible thing ever. So that was not going to happen. I left his office, tail between the legs, slunking away. And what I realized was I have to do something different. And I started on the path of personal development, positive thinking. Now, positive thinking is wonderful. It'll get you a certain distance, but we have to go deeper. We can't work on the surface, and we can't work out here. What we must do is go within. And this is where our practice comes in. We take time in meditation. We take time doing spiritual mind treatment or prayer. We take time to be in nature. We take time in the silence. As Eckhart Tolle wrote in his book, Silence Speaks, silence speaks. You'll sit in there and this inspiration will flow up. Ideas will come that are brand new and move us in a whole new direction. But it's up to us. Our spouse can't do it for us. Our neighbor can't do it for us. Our boss can't do it for us. I can't do it for you. I can do it for me. And you can do it for you. So today I invite you to really accept that you are a powerful, unique, creative, divine individual having a human experience. And you have the power to have that experience in a really dynamic way. Something joyous and beautiful and sparkling and just invigorating. I mean, what a way to live. We can have that. And it doesn't mean we won't have a bad day, because probably somewhere in there we will. But that bad day doesn't define us. That terrible, awful day does not define us. Because we wake up the next day and we can make new choices. So I invite you to live in that place of freedom, that place of acceptance, that place of possibility, and know that you have within you everything you need. And I do mean everything, everything you need to live a remarkable, powerful, positive, beautiful life. All that's required is to check our thinking and make sure that we're living from a place of love and peace. Because from there, we create good. And so it is.